What up, peeps? Welcome to today's vlog! I'm sorry. I wasted the tape. We do not have enough DJ tape for you to be wasting it. Excuse me? Yeah, excuse you. That's not enough. This will barely last us 8 years. There's not enough. You ignore that. Ariel.
What?
What's that?
Oh, my daughter?
What is that?
That's my demon daughter. Her name is Nezuko.
You had a daughter without even telling your wife?
Yeah. Oh, well, I did tell her after I had her.
It's like the wrong order.
This thing's huge.
I know. Apparently they're like $35 and the guy just gave her to me for free.
What?
He won her in a contest and now she's my baby.
Okay.
She's got the big tax on her, right?
Yeah, but then, you know, she get a better tax return.
Okay.
She got a dependent now.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we could not make the deal on the Pokemon card collection that we showed you guys yesterday. I really wanted to. I spent a lot of time going through and everything, but unfortunately, the number that he gave me he was looking for was really close to what we would actually sell them for. And I was kind of afraid of that going into it. And, you know, we talked about it. I talked with the guy for 15 minutes before even starting to make sure that, like, you know, are we at least on the same page, you know, percentage-wise and all that. He was just expecting a little bit more, which is fine, of course. He did say he had one other person that was interested, and then he's going to, like, let me know, because he said that he likes the offer that I made, but it is less than what he was expecting. But he wants to check with that other person first. I don't know if it's an individual or another store. If it's another store, I'm pretty confident in saying that no other store around here is going to make an offer as good as I did on this stuff. So maybe we'll see it again. I also asked if I could make an offer on individual cards. So he's going to come pick these up later today and look at my offers. I've just, like, written them on sticky notes, basically. And he's going to see if there's anything he'd like to sell individually. He doesn't want to split up the full sets, but there are cards from different sets that he did not have complete, and I think that he's going to be more willing to sell those. And half the ones I'm interested in are not from his complete sets, so maybe we'll see some later, hopefully. But either way, it's really awesome to see a collection like this. I think, like, even most card shops don't see complete base jungle and fossil sets walking through the door every day, because it's so hard to complete these sets, at least now. It used to be a lot easier. I'd love to have the full set myself, but I can't justify spending that much on cards.
Sup guys, got a staff pick for you. This time I chose Scribblenauts for the DS. This is a very, very cool game. I love it a lot. It's very interesting in how you just pretty much use words to bring stuff to life and figure out puzzles. You're just trying to get through, like, the mission that's given to you on each level, and you just try to use whatever's in your vocabulary to, you know, solve the puzzle. And it's pretty simple but very fun at the same time, because you can literally pretty much use anything you can think of. So, like, for example, one of my favorite things to do is give God a minigun, and he'll just, you know, take care of everyone for you. And he's unstoppable with a minigun. So, you know, it's very funny how you can, like, just use wacky, crazy things. You probably shouldn't be using weapons and stuff, but, you know, God with a minigun is just too cool not to use, right? You know? But yeah, so if you like weird, wacky puzzle games that you can do pretty much anything with, you'd probably love this game. It's kind of hard to compare it to anything else because there's nothing else really like this that I can think of. But it's just really cool how you can just do what you want, really, to solve the puzzles. And yeah, I think you guys would like it too, so give it a try.
What time is it? That's right. It's trade time. Let's start over here. Get a good look at all of the cool things that we got in. This multi-tap has the Hudson branded B on there, Hudson Soft. So I thought that was pretty cool. We've got a Pokemon carrying case for Game Boy Color. And over here, the Action Play Replay Plus. And Cooper wanted me to mention this HD component cable is only for the Super Nintendo. You can't use it really for the 64 or any other same type of this connector without some kind of mod. And it is pretty spendy, but it's a special little guy. It is a Retrovision brand, and I thought that was a pretty interesting little thing. I didn't know that cords like this could go for so much, but that'll make your Super Nintendo look amazing. You've got these guys over here. Pokemon Moon, Diablo 3, Skyrim, and Terraria. All games that you should absolutely try on the Switch. And some usual titles that we always see in here. And some that are a little bit rarer, including this guy here. The Walking Dead Telltale Games, the complete first season plus 400 days, which is like a prequel, I believe. This is one of the few games that has made me like inconsolable sobbing mess by the end, and it's just because of the connection that you bond with Clementine and Lee, the main characters. It was very well done, and unfortunately some of the future Telltale games did not have quite the emotional impact as this one. But if you're gonna play one, this one, the first season, amazing. Skip the second season, just saying. Let's keep going. Sneak King. I've always it gets me every time. Sorry. Fallout 3. So this one is a triple pack, and it is Dead Rising, Lost Planet, and Devil May Cry 4. And the Devil May Cry 4 disc is actually still sealed. These two are opened. But there are a couple other triple packs that the Xbox 360 came out with, the Platinum Hits kind. And I just thought that was pretty cool. Oh yeah, and somebody told me that this game was also excellent. Call of Duty Ghosts, Narnia, Wolfenstein. Is it Wolfenstein or Wolfenstein? All right, and then last but not least, of course, we've got our Super Nintendo games here. I'm gonna get in a little closer so you can read better. Oh yeah, and we've got these complete in-box sports games for the Super Nintendo. We got a game in recently that was this, but for the PlayStation, and like, wow, spendy. I'm not sure what the significance of it is, but all right. Some RPGs there at the end. And speaking of RPGs, last but not least, we've got this little number here. It is a Working Designs game, Magic Knight Rayearth. It is based on a magical girl anime / manga of the same name, I believe. That or mangas and animes were made because of this game. But one of my favorite things about not just this game, but also other working designs RPGs, is that the CDs all have different characters on them. So you can get a different variant depending on what you buy. And I believe some of them are rarer than others. So that sounds like it could be a cool thing to collect or a pain in the butt to collect. So let me know if you have any of these titles in your collection and if there's any that you would recommend to me. And thanks for trading with us.
What are these, Ryan?
Pokemon cards.
We got some of them.
We got the Pokemans.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. No.
So
But a good chunk.
I filmed a clip earlier telling him what's up, but this is what we ended up getting. This is basically everything that was not part of the original 3 sets he had complete.
Yeah.
So we also ended up getting the Steelix and that one and the Charizard and, you know, Ancient Muse and stuff. So we ended up with, I would say, well, value-wise, it was more than half of the cards.
Yeah.
I don't think physically it was more than half, because in the 3 sets, there's a lot of commons and uncommons that are on the cheaper side. But value-wise, the offer that I made him just for what's here was over half of the total offer that I made. So there's lots of really cool stuff.
These ones are double-sided.
Yeah, there's like that hollow e-reader Alakazam
yeah, that thing's
and
so
the Erica's Dragonair hollow.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many cool cards. So I'm thinking about getting some of them graded before we sell. I've never done it. And I have a friend who owns a card shop up near Seattle, and I asked him what's my best bet. So we'll see what happens.
All right, guys, time for the question of the day. So the question is, what's a boss that has like affected you to this day, or like, you know, like maybe scared you, or like, you know, that was just like very like pronounced in your childhood or whatever. For me, I'm gonna say the final boss in Mega Man X, because that one has 3 stages to beat, and like on the last stage it's like literally impossible to beat him unless you have like ammo of a certain type. So he's just like super difficult to beat, and he just like always irritated me when I would get to the end of Mega Man X. It would just piss me off. But yeah, that's mine. Next one.
The boss that I can think of right off the top of my head is Bongo Bongo from Ocarina of Time. Just because, like, in Ocarina of Time, you're playing as, you know, a kid, and you're running around and you're like, oh, these bosses are big and scary. And then you get to that whole section of the Shadow Temple and the well part, and suddenly there are zombies, and everything's trying to eat you and kill you, and then you're dropped into a big pit of a room, and you land on a drum, and there's just this thing with big hands, and it's invisible, and you can't see it, and me being like 8 years old, I was like, what is this? And it was one of those things where, like, it's not even a final boss. He's not even very hard, but when I was young, I just remember being like, writing in my diary, like, tonight I dreamed about Bongo Bongo again. Like, freaky.
So, not a boss, but it's like an enemy, so same thing. But I think they're called Redeads in Zelda. They're freaking cursed. That's Wind Waker, so it's like cartoony, but then it's like when they're like,
Okay.
Yeah.
they're, yeah, scary.
All right, my villain would be Baby Bowser from, of course, Yoshi's Island. When he gets all big at the end, that used to freak me out when I was younger, because he's throwing, like, rocks are falling at you, and he's, like, slowly stomping at you. He gets closer and closer until you, like, knock him back. Yeah, it used to freak me out.
So I don't know the name of the boss, and it didn't scare me, but it definitely left an impression, and it was from the game Parasite Eve on PS1. I used to watch my dad play that game when I was a kid, and I remember there was a boss that was like half monster, half like naked lady. And when I'm like, 8 or 9 years old, I'm not supposed to see that kind of stuff, especially like with my dad. But because it wasn't real and it was like a video game, he didn't care.
Nice.